Hello and welcome to the news tonight on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. We'll begin with the headlines. UK announces first ever easier visa regime for Indian business. New system to come with speedy passage through British airports and access to European Union. Pakistani troops fire mortar shells at Indian posts and civilian areas in Kashmir's Poonch district. Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist killed 2 army personnel injured in encounter in Shopian district. Rahul Gandhi all set to take over as Congress president. Congress Working Committee unanimously supports proposal, says high time party mobilized all forces to fight against the Modi government. Amid the worsening smoke crisis in Delhi, Union Environment Minister Anil Madhav Dave says 80% of the pollution generated within the city, neighbouring states to clamp down on crop burning. And a day before the US presidential election, FBI gives clean chit to Hillary Clinton, says it hasn't changed earlier view after a renewed probe into her use of a private email server as Secretary of State. Well, the Congress Working Committee today unanimously urged Rahul Gandhi to take over as party president. However, no decision was taken at the meeting chaired by Rahul in the absence of his mother. The CWC also passed a resolution criticizing the Modi government on several issues, including OROP and on the day of the ban of news channel NDTV India.
Members feel that Rahul Gandhi must take the lead in this fight. He should take up the leadership for this fight. This is the unanimous sentiment expressed in today's Working Committee meeting by the Working Committee members.
The chorus for Rahul Gandhi's elevation was echoed by Congress Working Committee on Monday when all members unanimously asked him to take over as party president. Rahul, who was chairing the meeting in the absence of his mother who skipped the meet due to illness, expressed his willingness to shoulder any responsibility. However, no decision was taken on this issue and the final call was once again left to Sonia Gandhi.
Congress Vice President was present in the meeting, presided over the meeting and said, whatever the Congress Party and Congress Working Committee would finally decide, he would be ready to take on every such challenge.
The CWC meeting also passed a resolution criticizing the Modi government on several issues, including the OROP, the one-day ban on news channel NDTV India and unemployment.
कांग्रेस कार्य समिति ने मोदी सरकार को तत्काल तौर से देश के सैनिकों को 1 रैंक 1 पेंशन उनकी आकांक्षा के मुताबिक देने, 7वें वेतन आयोग की विसंगतियों को दूर करने, सैनिकों को डिसेबिलिटी पेंशन की नई परिभाषा से नुकसान पहुंचाने के ऑर्डर को वापस लेने और सैनिकों की सिविलियंस के मुकाबले में रैंक को कम करने, इन सारे आदेशों को वापस लेने का आग्रह भी किया.
The CWC also passed another resolution on the soldiers martyred in the Uri attack and other terror strikes. It also sought an extension from the Election Commission for conducting organizational elections. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV, Delhi.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and British Prime Minister Theresa May today met in Delhi. Both sides took many key decisions on resolving issues relating to cooperation in different fields. Both countries also set up a strategic group to work on problems relating to visas. On the defence front, Britain will establish manufacturing units in India with technology transfer in the future. They also decided to increase investment for mutual prosperity and employment.
British Prime Minister Theresa May on Monday met Prime Minister Narendra Modi for one-to-one and delegation-level talks on matters of bilateral importance. The emphasis was on improving business ties. May announced a special visa process for Indian businesses that is unique among any country in the world.
The UK will make India the first visa country to have access to our registered traveller scheme, offering many Indians smoother and swifter clearance at the border. And we have invited the Indian government to become the first government in the world to nominate top business executives for the Great Club, our bespoke visa and immigration service.
2 key agreements were signed to give a boost to business and cooperation in different fields, including defense. The agreements included facilitating ease of business in both countries for each other and on protecting intellectual property rights.
I encourage British companies to look at the multiple opportunities in the Indian defense sector. Looking beyond trade in defense equipment, I invite them to build partnerships with Indian enterprise that focus on manufacturing, technology transfer, and co-development.
Both leaders discussed issues including terrorism and radicalization of youth in India. Britain promised to support India's concerns and also promised cooperation. Prime Minister briefed May about cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan and the need to stop such tendencies wherever they existed.
I also discussed with Prime Minister May ways to purposefully work together to combat the growing forces of radicalization and terrorism. We agreed that it is not a limited security challenge.
We both face a shared threat of terrorism as individual countries, as partners, and as global powers whose interests lie in a stable world founded on the rules-based international system. Today, we have agreed to strengthen our cooperation, in particular by sharing best practice to tackle the use of the internet by violent extremists and to reduce radicalization and recruitment attempts online.
Both Prime Ministers took part in India-UK Tech Summit to give boost to cooperation. Britain expressed confidence in India's growth story and agreed to invest £120 million in a joint fund to leverage private sector investment from the City of London to finance Indian infrastructure. More than €1 billion of business deals are signed between the two countries, either private or government.
India and Britain will have win-win situation as far as mutual investment is concerned. And politically also, they have little differences. And after Brexit, there is a new opportunity for both the countries to come together for development, peace and prosperity. Akhilesh Soman for Rajya Sabha television with camera person Junaid in Delhi.
Moving on, now a Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist was killed and 2 army personnel were injured in an encounter in Shopian district of Jammu and Kashmir. In other incidents, India and Pakistan exchanged fire and heavy shelling along the line of control in Mendhar area of Poonch district. It was the 101st incident of ceasefire violation by Pakistan after the surgical strikes.
A terrorist was killed and 2 army personnel were injured in an encounter in South Kashmir's Shopian district of Jammu and Kashmir on Monday. This was after security forces launched an operation following a tip-off. In the gun battle, a terrorist identified as Saddam Hussain Mir belonging to the Hizbul Mujahideen was killed. Security forces recovered an assault rifle, 5 AK-47 magazines, 119 AK-47 rounds and a hand grenade. In yet another ceasefire violation, Pakistan resorted to unprovoked firing in Mendhar sector of Poonch district at 9 AM. Pakistani troops fired mortar shells on Indian positions and civilian areas, leading to retaliation from the Indian security forces. No casualties were reported on the Indian side.
This has happened for quite some time. The response mechanism and the responses you're watching every day. Our deployments are absolutely normal, nothing extraordinary. And I think the Indian forces are in control of the situation.
Meanwhile, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti expressed deep concern over the burning of schools in the Kashmir Valley. Around 32 schools have been burnt in various parts of the valley in the past 4 months of the civil unrest.
Unfortunately, हमारे कुछ स्कूल भी जल गए हैं और उसके बाद एजुकेशन जो है कहीं ना कहीं स्टैंड स्टिल पे आ गए. But I am confident, we have the government has already taken into custody some miscreants. कुछ जो स्कूल जलाते थे उनको बंद कर दिया है, पकड़ा है और मुझे उम्मीद है कि आने वाले एक हफ्ते के अंदर there should be some good news.
Normalcy seems to have returned in Srinagar as increased movement of people and traffic were witnessed on city roads. Some shops were also open in the areas. However, adequate deployment of security forces were in place to maintain law and order. Elsewhere in Kashmir Valley, however, life remained affected due to a strike called by the separatists. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Another news now, the Delhi government imposed temporary emergency measures in the national capital, including deregistration of 15-year-old diesel vehicles in the city after the National Green Tribunal pulled up the Kejriwal government for not taking enough steps to contain air pollution. The NGT bench also criticized the Environment Ministry over the repeated absence of its representative during its proceedings. Here's more.
The centre has held Delhi responsible for the alarming rise in pollution levels. In an emergency meeting of Environment Ministers of Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh on Monday, Environment Minister Anil Madhav Dave said only 20% of the pollution levels in Delhi is due to crop burning from the neighbouring states and 80% is derived from the capital itself.
80% समस्या हमारी है. इसको हमको समझना होगा कि दिल्ली की समस्या 80% है. 20% में अन्य राज्यों से जो पराली जलने के कारण आता है वह हिस्सा है. हमको 365 दिन प्रतिदिन इस पे काम करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि ये एक 2 करोड़ की आबादी वाला शहर है और इसके अंदर हम सीजनल नहीं हो सकते.
National Green Tribunal once again lashed out at Delhi government for not taking timely preventive steps to tackle air pollution. Coming down heavily on the government, the tribunal asked, what preventive steps did it take on air pollution in national capital? Why didn't authorities sprinkle water on roads earlier? Why can't helicopters be used to create artificial rain to control dust pollution? Criticizing Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan over crop burning, it asked, what are they doing to control crop burning? Pointing out that 70% of agricultural land was burning in Punjab, it asked why didn't it own responsibility when people are dying out of air pollution?
दिल्ली सरकार को ये भी डायरेक्ट करा गया है कि आप एयर पोल्यूशन को कम करने के लिए जैसे इंडोर और आउटडोर पोल्यूशन का जो डाटा है वो सामने लाएं कि इंडोर में क्या जैसे इंडोर का मतलब होता है कि आप एक कमरे के अंदर जो प्रदूषण है क्या वो बाहर के प्रदूषण से कम रहा है या ज़्यादा रहा है.
On Tuesday, the Supreme Court will hear a petition on the alarming pollution levels in Delhi, which the Environment Pollution Control Authority has termed the worst in 17 years.
दिल्ली की स्थिति बहुत खराब है. जो आज जहर है हमारे हवा के अंदर ये हमारे लिए बहुत बुरा है और ये पब्लिक हेल्थ इमरजेंसी है और इसीलिए हमारी उम्मीद है कि कोर्ट इस मैटर को सुनेगी और जो करना है सरकारों को बताएगी और सख्ती देगी.
As smog continued to engulf the capital for the 8th day on Monday, the Delhi government decided to close all schools for the next 3 days and shut down all constructions and demolitions for 5 days. The Badarpur thermal power plant was closed for 10 days from Monday.
दिल्ली एनसीआर में लगभग 4000 ईंटों के भट्टे हैं जो नॉर्म्स फॉलो नहीं कर रहे हैं, ओवर पॉल्यूटिंग कर रहे हैं, उन पे काम करने की बात हुई है. जो ओवर पॉल्यूटिंग इंडस्ट्रीज हैं जो ज़्यादा धुआं फेंकती हैं उन को कंट्रोल करने की बात हुई है.
Announcing emergency measures, the Delhi Chief Minister said that the government is exploring the possibility of bringing back the odd-even road rationing scheme and appeal to people to stay indoors. Water sprinkling on roads to deal with dust pollution also began in some parts of the city. The Met Department has forecast little improvement in the current weather conditions for the next 3 days. Anu Diwan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Another news now, the Information and Broadcasting Ministry on Monday reportedly put on hold the ban order against NDTV India. News agency PTI is quoting sources and said that the decision was taken after a meeting between INB Minister M. Venkaiah Naidu and NDTV promoter Pranoy Roy. The move comes after NDTV India moved the Supreme Court against the government's order banning its telecast for a day on the 9th of November for its coverage of the Pathankot terror attack. The petition challenges the constitutional validity of the government order and the provisions of law under which the order was passed. The Information and Broadcasting Ministry had directed NDTV India to go off air for a day on November 9th for revealing strategically sensitive details while covering the Pathankot attack. The ban evoked strong reactions from the opposition and media fraternity across the nation. Defending the ban order, INB Minister Venkaiah Naidu said that the Congress has no business to lecture the government on democracy.
All those people who are now coming out and criticizing this small action that took as a caution, they never opened their mouth at that time. Some were enjoying emergency. And during UPA regime, 21 channels were banned. Some of them were banned for airing midnight masala. Whereas we are worried about daylight portrayal of these terrorists activities with a running commentary about the whereabouts of depot, ammunition depot, aircrafts, other things.
Meanwhile, a massive fire broke out in the slum area of Sadar Bazaar of Delhi on Monday evening. Now, 30 fire tenders have been rushed to the spot and efforts to douse the fire are on. Cylinder blasts have also been reportedly taking place in the fire. Sadar Bazaar is a crowded area in Old Delhi which sells mostly household goods. The cause of the fire still remains unknown. Well, the government launched the e-court system on Monday for speedy disposal of appeals and complaints with the Central Information Commission. With a huge backlog of over 1.5 lakh RTI appeals, the e-courts are expected to foster greater transparency.
Real-time updates on Right to Information Act complaints, Central Information Commission functioning like e-courts are all set to strengthen transparency in the country. The government plans to electronically transfer cases to information commissioners within hours. At present, the process takes a few days.
बहुत एक लंबी पेंडेंसी है, तो हम उस पेंडेंसी को भी, केसेज की पेंडेंसी को भी काफ़ी हद तक कम करने में कामयाब होंगे, ऐसा मेरा पूरा विश्वास है.
The centre is also initiating the process to appoint information commissioners, as two of them due to complete their tenure on December 31st, 2016 and February 17th, 2017.
Ongoing process. It happens from time to time. Some of the vacancies fall vacant, and then there's a due process of making the appointments. But certainly we have now information commissions in place.
The number of pending RTI appeals has seen a whopping increase between 40 to 240% in 2 years. The waiting period at RTI commissions ranges between 2 months and 30 years. The new system is expected to generate a unique number that applicants can use to track the status of their cases. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the LDF-led government in Kerala told the Supreme Court today that it was willing to allow the entry of women inside the sanctum sanctorum of the Sabrimala temple. Earlier in April, the court questioned whether restricting entry of a particular gender into places of worship can be a matter of managing religious affairs. It said that it will test the validity of such rules on constitutional principles. Subsequently, the court observed that the fundamental right of women to equality has to be balanced with the right of a group to profess and manage religious affairs before a decision can be taken regarding the ban on entry of women inside Sabrimala temple. A bench led by Justice Deepak Mishra said that restriction on women was indeed discriminatory and a violation of their right. But it also pointed out that the Constitution had given a right to ensure freedom to propagate religious practices and to manage religious affairs. The court has set the next hearing on February 20th. Here's a roundup of the other national news and nationwide. 4 people were killed and 2 others injured on Monday after they were hit by the Delhi Jayanagar Swatantrata Express while crossing the railway tracks in the Samastipur district of Bihar. The group reportedly did not see the approaching train due to morning fog. Train services between Samastipur and Darbhanga were affected after agitators started protesting with the bodies of the deceased. Heroin worth 2 crore rupees in the international market was recovered by the police from an Afghan national in Delhi. He had swallowed 57 capsules containing the drugs. The Afghan national had fallen ill on board a flight to Kabul and had to be admitted to AIIMS, where he was operated upon. The drugs were discovered during the surgery. An FIR has been registered in this regard at the IGI Airport Police Station, and efforts are being made to unearth the syndicate and track the other co-passengers. In the run-up to the UP State Assembly elections next year, Home Minister Rajnath Singh addressed a rally in Kairana, which was in the limelight over alleged migration of Hindus recently. Rajnath Singh attacked the state government for not providing electricity in the villages. Singh also pitched for development of farmers by the BJP government. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Let's get you the latest from the US election now. Well, the Federal Bureau of Investigation gave a clean chit to Hillary Clinton, saying it has not changed its view after a renewed probe into her use of a private email server as Secretary of State. The development is being seen as a game changer for the Democratic presidential candidate. Here's a report. The FBI has determined that a new batch of emails linked to Hillary Clinton's private email server have not changed the Bureau's conclusion that she committed no criminal wrongdoing. The FBI Director James Comey told congressional leaders in a letter on Sunday. As campaigning continued ahead of Tuesday's presidential election, a Clinton spokeswoman said that the candidate was glad this matter is resolved.
We have seen Director Comey's latest letter to the Hill. We are glad to see that that he has found, as we were confident that he would, that he has confirmed the conclusions that he really reached in July, and we're glad that this matter is resolved.
The Democratic nominee's opponent, Donald Trump, reacted with anger at the news and cast doubt on whether the FBI had even carried out its work.
Hillary Clinton is the most corrupt person ever to seek the office of the presidency of the United States. The investigations into her crimes will go on for a long, long time. The rank and file special agents at the FBI won't let her get away with these terrible crimes, including the deletion of 33,000 emails after receiving a congressional subpoena.
Meanwhile, Asia stocks ended higher on Monday after the FBI said it stood by its earlier recommendation that no criminal charges were warranted against Clinton. Investors had been unnerved by signs of a tightening presidential race between Clinton and Donald Trump, whose stance on foreign policy, trade and immigration has rippled through financial markets. Clinton holds a 5-point lead over Trump in the latest Washington Post ABC tracking poll released early Sunday. In a post-ABC poll on Friday, Clinton had led Trump by 47% to 44%. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television. Well, the 12-day Global Climate Conference will begin today in the Moroccan city of Marrakesh. Delegates will deliberate on the details of implementing the Paris deal, such as drafting rules on measuring and reporting emissions, as well as the financial contributions meant to help poor countries deal with climate change. India will push the agenda of sustainable lifestyle at the conference. The Environment Ministry said in a statement that the importance of sustainable lifestyle anchored for the first time in the climate change agreement was a big victory for India. It also added that India will push for operationalization and meaningful outcomes from the new bodies set up under the Paris Agreement, which includes technology framework and Paris Committee on Capacity Building.
اتفاقية باريس كانت اتفاقية تاريخية تم المصادقة عليها في أقل من سنة، وهذا نادر جدا في مسار المفاوضات والاتفاقات الدولية، والمغرب يطمح الآن إلى تفعيل هذه الاتفاقية وخصوصا.
Well, let's now get you a roundup of the other international news in Global Buzz. China today adopted a tough cybersecurity law which it said was aimed at safeguarding sovereignty on cyberspace and national security and to deal with related risks at home and abroad. The new law was passed by China's legislature, the National People's Congress. According to the new law, the government will take measures to monitor, defend and handle cybersecurity risks and threats originating from within the country or overseas. Sources protecting key information infrastructure from attack, intrusion, disturbance and damage. The United Nations is investigating claims that up to 32 civilians were killed in a US airstrike in the volatile Afghan province of Kunduz last week, calling any loss of civilian life unacceptable. The strike early last Thursday triggered angry protests in Kunduz, with local officials saying at least 30 people had been killed, many of them children whose mutilated bodies were paraded through the streets by grieving relatives. Well, the Philippines' President Rodrigo Duterte on Monday ordered the cancellation of purchase of police rifles from the United States. This after US senatorial aides said last month that Washington was halting the sale due to concerns about human rights violations. Duterte said he will not insist on buying expensive arms from the United States. Instead, we can always get them somewhere else. A senior Rajya Sabha television anchor Girish Nikam passed away today in New Delhi. He was 59 years old. A well-known presence in English television journalism, Girish anchored Rajya Sabha TV's popular current affairs program, The Big Picture, ever since its inception. On Monday, Girish had just finished recording the Big Picture program, and when he complained of difficulty in breathing, he was immediately rushed to the RML hospital where he died of a cardiac arrest. A seasoned journalist, Girish started his career with the Star of Mysore, reporting for the last 24 years for various prestigious English publications, including the Indian Express, India Today, News Time and Deccan Chronicle. An outspoken professional, Girish Nikam marked his television debates with an understated style that was high on content. Based in New Delhi since 1995, he was also an excellent mentor to budding journalists, teaching reporting and current affairs at the Jagran Institute of Mass Communication in Noida. Notable media personalities joined Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari in condoling his death. Expressing deep sorrow, Rajya Sabha television CEO Gurdeep Singh Sappal said that his passing away is a huge loss to RSTV. Sappal said Girish was not only an integral part of RSTV, but also a voice of sobriety, rationale and compassion in the debates that he conducted, which became the hallmark of the channel.
I have lost a very dear friend, but I think India has lost a very versatile journalist who traversed the worlds of print, television and social media. It's a very sad day for all of us because he had a lot more to offer to this world and to the world of journalism.
वे एक ऐसे पत्रकार थे जो कि कभी अपने आदर्शों और विचारों के साथ कभी समझौता नहीं किया। मैं उनके प्रति श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूँ।
Well, we leave you with the big picture, the last episode that Girish Nikam today recorded for Rajya Sabha television.